everyone. Hope all of you are keeping safe and healthy at your home. So today I am meeting you again for our report writing and we are proceeding towards the next part. So students, before we progress with the agenda for this lecture, we have already understood that what exactly a report is. So a report is a sequenced document of an investigation that is held in a statistical or a non-statistical manner in order to take up certain kind of investigation for which specific results are required. A report is a document where the room of subjectivity is not there. The document is completely objective, which is based upon the facts and the figures, which is investigated to solve a problem that is existing in a corporate or the academia. Other than this, we have to understand that whenever a report is made, it is deeply researched on a data, that data is analyzed, certain conclusions are drawn and recommendations are made in order to solve the problem that has been given. So, we have already understood that what exactly a report is in our previous lectures. We have also understood that how exactly the report can be formed, what are the various formats of report writing. Whenever we are writing a report, how are we going to organize and sequence various areas that are presented in our report. Today, we are going to deeply understand a very important topic which we call as the parts of a report. So, in our lecture, we will be understanding developing an outline of the report. Whenever a report is made, how the outline is being framed, because outline gives a framework to the whole report that is being presented to the management. Anything that is very coherent and has a logical bridge between one part and another part is very effective for the reader. Students, whenever you are making a report, you always need to make sure that you keep the reader into consideration. If you keep the reader into consideration, your report will always be highly effective by following the intricate details. We will also be understanding developing the outline in the three major parts: the prefatory part, the body of the report, the appended part, and after that we will understand all the three parts in complete detail. Students, moving on to the first part, let me first take you to the three sections of the report. Whenever you are making a report has to be divided in three effective sections. The first section is the preface or the prefatory part. The second section is the main part of the report. This part includes whatever is the major recommendation, the conclusion, the overall findings, what has exactly been done in the report. Everything comes in the main part or whatever, or what we call as the body part of the report. And the third part is the appended part. Students, let us first come to the prefatory part of the report. Now, the word prefatory has been derived from the word preface. All of you know the meaning of the word preface? Yes, as you have rightly thought, preface is the basic introduction about what we are going to talk about, what is the scope, what is the subject matter that is being dealt with. So, as the word preface suggests, the prefatory part is going to be the initial part of the report that will provide what exactly is there in the report, what exactly will the report, how the report will unfold. So, if we talk about the prefatory part, students, first of all it has a title page. Now, you understand that whenever we are framing a report, the title page holds extreme importance because we are talking about what is the title of the report, who has made the report, to whom the report is being presented. Nowadays, a very important term has been used in report writing, which is known as title fly page. Now, what is title fly page? Title fly page is the page which only consists of the title that has been centrally put up in the page. When we talk about the title fly page, we just have the title, and other than title, none of the information is given in the title fly page. So, if we take up the title fly page, after the title fly page, we give in the title page. If we talk about the title page, students, what all are the contents of the title page? We have the title of the report. Make sure that you really take care of the uppercase and the lowercase of your title. The title of the report should be precise as well as concise. I hope you understand the difference between precision and concision. If I talk about concise, concise means telling your title in minimum possible words. If I talk about precision, precision means exactly telling what you are supposed to tell in the title. That means your title is required to be completely precise as well as concise at the same time, taking care of the uppercase as well as lowercase, and of course, very important, what we call as grammar in the title. It has to be completely correct. Moving on, the title page will have the name of the person who is preparing the report. Then it will have the full details including the designation in case the person is working, or for the students you definitely need to mention your roll number, your class, your section as per the requirement of your university or your institute in which you are studying. Moving on, you also have the name of the department in case the individual is working. So, you mention the name of the individual, the designation of the individual, the department of the individual. Moving on, you also require to put up the organization in case you are working, the institute in case you are a student, in case the person who is preparing the report is a student, the place and date where the report is being prepared, and the date on which the report is being finalized or presented or given, indicating the name of the individual who is reporting, who is receiving the report. Now, this is also very important, to whom the report is being submitted. Students, take care of a very important point. You cannot really afford to make mistakes in the name of the person to whom the report is being presented. So, always make sure that your title page is completely correct. All the information is going to be center aligned. Certain formats may give you an information which is left aligned or right aligned based upon the format that has been used by the company in which you will go and work in future. But if it is not as per the company's format, if it is not as per the designated format, or the company has not made any particular kind of format, or as being a student, you whenever you will submit your report, always make sure that everything is centrally aligned. Center alignment is very important, and also the left and right margins are also important. Students, these features make your report very presentable, and always remember the fact that a presentable report again is very effective, not just for the mind but also for the eyes. Moving on to the second part of the prefatory part, let us understand that what else prefatory part would include. The prefatory part would also include the acknowledgement. Now, students, while you are writing the report, you are taking the help of a lot of individuals. You are taking the help of the librarian, you are going to the library, you are searching for certain titles, you are taking the help of your mentor, you are taking the help of your teacher, you might be taking the help of your industry guide if you are taking up summer internship project. So, multiple people are attached whenever you are writing a report, because report writing is not an individual's work. A lot of people's contribution is there in that particular report writing. So, how are you supposed to thank all those individuals who helped you during that report writing? So, in order to thank all the individuals, in order to present your gratitude to all the individuals who have helped you during the report writing, you need to make sure that you provide a section which is called the acknowledgement section. Now, acknowledgement is in terms that you are paying your gratitude, you are acknowledging the help from the people that you have attained during report writing. Under this section, you have to make sure, because it is a very tedious task. Why is it a tedious task? Because at times you might forget mentioning a few of the names from whom you have sought the help, but now you are not mentioning their names. So, for this section, sit down and understand chronologically from whom all have you sought for help. So, over here you need to understand that all the names have to be put in the acknowledgement section. Moving on, I am moving to the third element in the prefatory part, which is called the letter of transmittal. Now, as we understand, the word transmittal has come from the word whenever you are transferring a particular thing from one place to another place. So, if I talk about letter of transmittal, this letter is an official document where you are telling the individual that my report, I have prepared a certain report and now this report is being transferred to the other person for this reason, alright. So, the transfer of the report takes place from the report writer to the individual who commissioned the report, who has told that this report has to be made in this particular order. So, in this part the receiver of the report can be directly addressed. Now, the letter of transmittal tells that now this report is now being transferred to the person or the reader of the report. In this report, in letter of transmission, you always take care that you can use the first or the second person. For example, you can use pronouns such as we and you only in this part of the report. Moving on, if the letter of transmittal is written in a very favorable manner, then of course it is going to help you a lot, because it is going to set a favorable tone for the person who is reading the report. And once a favorable tone and a certain kind of goodwill is being set, that helps a lot for the individual who is reading the report. Moving on, students, I am moving on to the fourth part of the prefatory part, which is a very simple part. All of you are aware of the part which is called table of contents. Now, students, the only issue that has been found in report writing in this part is people do not know how to divide sections and subsections. See, there is a very simple rule. Whenever we talk about the table of content, you always need to make sure that you provide certain Arabic numbers to the section, for example 1, 2, 3. Now, if you are talking about the subsection, students, then you have to provide decimal number after the Arabic number. So, that means you have to provide, if your section is 1 and this section is the introduction. Now, under introduction you have to mention another section which is understanding the concept. So, that will be 1.1. Alright. So, if under understanding of concept you have the concept of recruitment. So, what will be that section, subsection? That will be 1.1.1. Alright. So, this order is very important. If I tell you, whenever this order is broken, the coherence in the report writing is completely missing. What is coherence, students? Coherence is the logical bridge between one part of writing and the other part of writing. If your writing is coherent, students, then the reader becomes very influenced by your writing, and he or she understands the whole gist of the report, understands why the report is being written, what is the solution the report is providing, what are the recommendations the report is making. So, make sure under your table of content, whole of your sections and subsections are arranged properly. Moving on, students, I am coming on to again a very paramount part of report writing, what we call as executive summary. In certain areas, you might see that executive summary is called an abstract. Now, what is an abstract? It actually opens the window to the body of the report. It tells the reader that what the report is all about. Now, taking you to a very important point, executive summary will follow a certain order. For example, you have a problem to be solved in a certain report. So, executive summary will give that what has been the problem, what is the methodology that has been used to deal with the problem, what is the solution that has been found while we were dealing with the problem, what is the solution we have found for the problem, what is the conclusion that we derive from this, and what are the recommendations made. That is why, students, writing the executive summary is a very tedious as well as very important task. So, you need to mention everything in a paragraph form in a manner that the person whosoever is reading the report is actually influenced to turn the next page and read the complete report, because executive summary will tell whole of your report in one page. So, that is why that one page is very important. because that one page is going to decide whether the person is going to turn around the page and take the rest of the report forward, or the person is not finding the report to be very, very interesting or worth reading. All right. So, under executive summary, an important element when it comes to a report, it allows the reader to quickly understand the various elements that are being presented in the report. Now, it is usually written in the form of a paragraph: inclusion, short statement of the main task, methodology, conclusion, recommendations made. As I have told you, this is what you are going to include in your executive summary. Moving on, it single-handedly explains what exactly is there in the report, and student, this is one document which is independent of the report. If the individual reads this document is going to be independent of the report. That means the individual is going to understand what is there in the report only by reading this particular document. Executive summary actually helps the reader to decide whether the report is worth reading or not. That is why always focus upon the executive summary writing. Moving on, students, I am taking you to the second part of report writing, which is called the body of the report, or which is also known as the main part of the report. Now, as the name suggests, students, this part is going to be the major part in the report writing. In this part, everything that has been talked about in the report is going to be mentioned in a very, very detailed form. All right. If I talk about this, it will have certain subsections in the main part or the body of the report. Now, if I talk about the body of the report, the first thing that comes is the introduction. Now, before the introduction, I would like to tell you that this has the bulk of the report. That means, whole of the content about which the report has been made is there in this part. So, coming to this part, the first part of the main part or the body of the report is the introduction. Now, students, what is the introduction? If I tell you to introduce yourself, how will you do that? You will tell me that who are you, from where do you belong, what are your short term and long term goals, what is your future orientation, what you are going to do, what are your hobbies. So, you are going to tell me a paragraph about yourself, which is going to give me a glimpse that who exactly you are. In the similar manner, under introduction, what are we going to talk about? We are going to give an overview, a journal overview, a broad journal overview. Details are avoided in an introduction. A broad journal overview of mentioning certain points like what is the problem, who has asked for the report, how the problem is being solved, what is the purpose of writing this report, what is the scope of writing this report. Scope means what are the elements being included in the report and what are the elements that are being excluded in the report. Then you are going to mention the technical terms that you are going to use in this part. You can also mention certain keywords here which can help the person who is reading the report to understand that what exactly is going to come in the pages forward. All right. So, moving on, the objectives, that means why are you preparing the report, are covered in this section. The method of inquiry, that means what is the methodology that is being applied, is also covered in this particular part. Then you give a brief journal background that before this was any work done on this particular thing, or if it was done on this particular thing, then what exactly was the word. Of course, we will talk about it in a detailed manner during the literature review, but yes, you can provide a journal glimpse of it in the introduction also, makes the text very, very coherent. Moving on, you always need to take care of these W's, 4 W's and 1 H: who, what, why, how. This is again very, very important, that how exactly you are going to comprehend this particular thing by answering the questions of the W's that are mentioned. That is going to make your introduction very, very synchronized. Moving on, let us go to the part called literature review. Students, what is literature? Literature is the work done, right, the texts that are written. Now, literature review is very, very important because it will help you to find the gap, that what exactly is the problem, where is the gap, and what exactly are you planning to do. So, that is why making sure that you have read the relevant literature and quite an enormous amount of literature to understand about the topic being talked about in the report is a mandate. It is a salient feature of the report. So, literature review is going to help you to understand that what work has been done on this particular topic by rest of the authors, alright. So, while you are doing the literature review, you need to make sure that you understand that how the work has been taken, what is the gap, and how exactly are you planning to take away that gap from your research or from your project or from your report. Moving on, let us talk about the third major part of the main part, the body of the report, methodology. Now, students, as you understand the word, what is methodology? Methodology is the method that is being implied, right, that is being applied in that particular context. So, methodology will help the reader to find out that what method has the student taken to investigate upon a particular problem. Have you used the primary data? Have you talked to the respondents? Have you taken their interview? Have you made a survey? Have you asked them certain questions? Students, these days a lot of tools are available when we talk about the primary research. You have websites like Monkey Survey, you have a lot of websites, a lot of help that is being given to you by Google as well as Microsoft. You have Google Forms, you have Google Drive. So, you have multiple things that can help you to do the primary research. Another thing in the methodology, you will tell that whether you have taken the primary research or the secondary research. Under the secondary research, you will only study the things that have already been done and you are going to analyze that data in a very coherent manner. So, under methodology, we are going to tell our reader that what exactly have we used. Moving on, the results and findings. Students, always take care that the results and the findings are in a manner that nothing is subjective, everything is objective that is being analyzed. Under results and findings, students always make sure that the raw data shall never be put, it should be properly analyzed, certain statistical tools are applied and coherent results are deduced out of it. You always take care that you present the data in terms of diagram, table, graph, pie chart, bar chart and other diagrams to support the reader to give certain kind of visual aids, and students, visual aids are very simple to interpret rather than lengthy texts. Moving on, students, the discussion. Now, discussion would have the results drawn from the information, right. You had certain information, you got certain result, now you are discussing the result. You are telling that what exactly is your expert opinion. Always try and give expert opinion and not an emotional opinion, because expert opinions are really needed in this section. Moving on, the part that is there is conclusion. Under conclusion, you are going to conclude everything that you have done, what process you have used, what result came, how have things been done. So, you are going to conclude everything so that you can move on to the next section, which is called recommendation. Now, student, recommendation is what you are recommending, what exactly you are telling the individual to do in order to solve that particular problem, so that further that problem is not comprehended by the corporate or academia or the industry you are dealing with. So, recommendations are must be very specific. They should be action oriented rather than more orientation should be there. They should of course be action oriented. Then you have to take care that they are logical, sequenced and they must be numbered. Never give recommendations in the form of a paragraph, always give recommendation in form of the number so that it is coherent. Okay. Last in this part is the limitations. Students, whenever you write a report or do certain kind of research, you always have some problems, right. Those problems are the limitations. You mention that I have catered this and this particular thing has not been catered, the other person can cater to it. So, limitations are very important to write. Students, moving on to the third part of the report, it is the appended part. Now, appended part, if I tell you in the simple manner, it is the to information. What is to? Excessive information, right. So, all the things that you have used that are very technical, that are very lengthy, you put in the appended part. All the help you have taken, referencing that help and then providing it in the bibliography is in the appended part. So, under appended part you have the bibliography. It is the record of all the bibliographic details that you have used, the author, the edition, the publisher, the place of publishing, everything comes in the bibliography. Then students, you have the appendices. Now students, what are the appendices? Appendices are the intricate areas that you have used in the report, but mentioning that in the report is not really required because it will be very time taking for the reader. So under appendices you put highly technical questions, detailed comprehensive table, charts, photographs, etc. They can be put in the appendices. Then you have the glossary, all the technical terms that are used. See students, at times you have jargons, so you have to put the glossary. And the last one is index. Now index, if your report is more than 20 pages, then including the index is very important. So this is the recap of what we have done: the prefatory part, the main part, the appended part, the subsections, title page, acknowledgement, letter of transmittal, TOC, executive summary, introduction, LR, methodology, limitation, finding, discussion, conclusion, recommendation, and data collection form if in case it is a primary study, detailed calculation, journal table, other support material. So students, I hope it is completely clear to you how exactly do we have certain parts and the major parts of the report writing. I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you.